Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jake Kurth and welcome to another one of Leeds helpful tips video streaming things that we've been doing over the last couple months. Today's video helpful tip is going to be going over all about vibration and specifically leaving you only with good vibrations. Can't help but make that little joke in there. Thank you, Beach Boys. But yeah, so vibrations are an issue, particularly for once we start working up in higher magnifications, like we have on the LCF3 or our Discovery Series comparison microscope. You're at very high power sometimes, and getting those little bit of vibrations can actually be quite irritating. So we've done quite a bit on the system to prevent vibrations, but in today's helpful tip, we're going to go over some things that we've learned over the years with our customers just on troubleshooting vibration, and then we're still going to go through even more actually things we've built for our customers to really damp down that vibration should it ever come up. But before we begin, just wanted to say a quick point. This is one of our live streams, and so like with all live streams, it says pros and advantages. The pro is you're absolutely getting it live. The disadvantage is that sometimes things do happen. So please bear with me if anything comes up, and we'll figure it out. There is also a live chat window, which is kind of nice using the YouTube live streaming service. So if you have any questions, any comments or anything, please feel free to just go ahead and write in the live chat, and I'll be watching it on my left-hand side, and as I see questions, I'll definitely go and answer them. This live streaming topic was actually one that one of our customers asked us to bring up. So if you have topics that you'd like us to go into, just as a conversation topic or as a helpful tip topic, please feel free to email me at my email address, which is jkurth@leedsmicro.com, or you can call or text me. All right, here we go. So vibrations. So what you'll see is that there's a couple different places that you can have vibrations come from. And one of the biggest things is just to make sure everything is locked down and tightened. So a great example is actually what we have here. I don't know if you can see it kind of in the background. It's our focus mount positioner system. It's just to make sure everything's tightened down. On some of our new microscopes, it's a lever. And maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But it's a lever that flips up and then it flips down, and it actually is like a physical lever that's long and you can manipulate. If any of you have our older style systems from several years ago that don't have a lever like that, please let me know, and then we'll just replace those levers at no charge. Because we really do like that lever because it's very clear when it's locked down. So vibrations can definitely come from places that are just loose on the microscope, on the focus mount positioner, things like that. Another big place that vibrations can come from is the feet of the table itself. So our microscopes, they're made out of solid billet aluminum, so they're quite heavy, which is good, and that's going to help reduce building vibrations from coming in and affecting your microscope. But sometimes maybe your floor over time, I've seen this happen a couple times, the microscope settles kind of into the old linoleum tile floor. And maybe like there's a bubble or there's a deviation in the floor itself. And what'll end up happening is the microscope is sitting on the floor and it looks like it's level, but there's a little slight rock to it. It's not actually all the feet are not fully firmly in place. And so that's actually why we've built on our microscopes the ability to level those feet. So if you start seeing a vibration, something we always recommend doing is just, make sure that the feet are all securely attached to the floor. And if you need instructions on how to do that, we can certainly provide them. Another thing to talk about also is just a lot of modern buildings. We've seen this happen a couple times more recently with buildings that are new crime labs, is they will be using this type of, one of my colleagues calls it a drumskin type of construction. So instead of having solid beams and posts throughout the entire floor or underneath the floor that you're on, what they'll have is a lot of long beams and then open space. And what can end up happening is if an AC unit turns on or an elevator turns on, you can actually see a vibration set up into that drumskin, and then the whole floor will have this very faint vibration to it. that it acts like a drum skin, so it oscillates, and then you can see that get amplified into the microscope. We had one lab, and you'll notice these things before I tell you that story. We noticed these things where in the winter you won't have any issues, and then in the summer, once things start to heat up, AC units kick on, and then suddenly you get this weird vibration that wasn't there in the past. We had one customer that they had, and it can really be about where where your microscopes are in that floor space. So as I was saying, we had one customer who had 2 of our comparison scopes right next to each other. They were set up fine, everything was perfect, but then they had either done elevator work or they turned on a freight elevator that they hadn't been using before, and it was maybe about 2 or 3 office spaces away. But what ended up happening is just the placement of the 2 microscopes where they were. One microscope would see the vibration, the other wouldn't. And what we did is we even just swapped both microscopes to where the other one was, and you saw that vibration come through there. So what we did there is we actually ended up swapping out to some of our feet, some of our anti-vibration things, and I'll show you those in a minute. Big question can be about what do these vibrations look like? A vibration can be pretty obvious, right? So sometimes you see your whole image shake, and that's very irritating and very obviously a vibration. But other times it can be a lot more insidious. It can just look like kind of a heat haze sometimes, or you can just be looking at it and you just see like the frame or the image almost looks like it's floating side by side. And I actually have a really good example of that right here that I'll bring up real quick. So this is an example of what vibration can look like. And it's really subtle, and you can barely see it, but imagine if you were doing your comparison work and you saw these 2 kind of like shifting images. That's the idea, that's the type of vibration that we're trying to resolve here. So a couple things we have is, let's say you've made sure everything's tightened down, you've locked down your focus mount positioners, you've made sure that your focus mounts themselves are tight, that your universal holder is flush to the surface. It's not slightly askewed, it's flush and pushed down to the surface. Let's say you've done all those troubleshooting steps and you verified that everything's locked tight and it all looks good. That's where Leeds actually has a wide variety. We have 3 different levels of anti-vibration equipment that we can send you. I have some examples here. Our first one that we usually like to start people off with, and actually this is how we resolved that vibration that I showed you in that previous video. We actually sent them this material and it helped resolve it. It was from people walking nearby, which was causing it. This is what we call our EAR material. It's essentially just a thick neoprene pad that then we cut, and it's very light and very easy for us to ship. And these can actually just be placed directly underneath your microscope's feet. And that'll help a lot. Honestly, this helps with by far most vibrations that we've encountered. We have another step up from that. So let's say you try the neoprene pad, you try the EAR material, it doesn't work, maybe it helps a little bit, but you still are seeing these big vibrations in your laboratory. You're still seeing that unsettled appearance, that wavy appearance. What Leeds also has are our standard anti-vibration feet. And these work really well. We have one lab in the East Coast, on the East Coast, that is built their lab, or just by pure coincidence, directly over the subway system. So every single time a subway goes by, there's this very low but very high, but very intense vibration that moves throughout the entire building. And these anti-vibration feet were able to resolve that issue for them. So these are kind of the big guns, and they are available, and we can send them out to you if you start seeing vibration issues that just can't be resolved through the EAR or just by tightening, repositioning, just verifying things. Leeds also has one other type of anti-vibration foot that's really intense. It's called, I forget what we call it exactly, but it can take a ½ inch of deflection. And so what that means is it can take a ½ inch of vibration. So you can, with that setup, you could basically be jumping right down up and down right next to your microscope, and you wouldn't see any vibration really move into your microscope. Now, there are pros and cons to all of these. You can kind of see, like, with this anti-vibration foot, it's a rubber pad essentially, and it's flexible and you can move it, and that's okay. But where we start getting into higher and higher grades of anti-vibration material, it ends up becoming basically more squishy. There's probably a better term for it, more technical term. But those half-inch deflection feet, while they work exceptionally well and they'll take out essentially any vibration that your building has to throw at it, what you'll see is the microscope, it'll be almost like it's on a waterbed. So you can, if you ever have to move it, you have to move it very carefully. You don't just want to drag it across the floor. But it definitely makes the height go up a little bit, and then it just has a little bit of settling time. And that's just with those anti-vibration feet. So a lot of different things you can do with anti-vibration, but the main thing really comes down to is just making sure first everything's locked down and tight, making sure your universal holder is flat and flush to the stage, that you don't have it like springboarding, like a diving board, you don't have it bouncing up. And then you know what you can do is to really isolate if there is an issue that something's not tightened down. You can actually just move your hand throughout the microscope and just touch things and see if you, by placing your finger on it, see if that vibration remains or see if that vibration goes. And then Leeds has at least 3 different levels of anti-vibration feet that we have that we can send you to hopefully resolve that vibration issue. I'm going to do a quick check-in and see if we have any questions. Nope, doing pretty good. So yeah, vibrations are weird. They happen in pretty much every lab. LCF3 and our Firearm scopes, the microscope itself has enough mass that it helps prevent those vibrations. But if you do start seeing vibrations, you can always contact us. But again, I just recommend walking through, tightening things down, making sure the feet are level. Another one also, just as a quick update, when you're talking about feet, something to think about is where you place your own feet. We had an occasion once where an examiner accidentally was having their feet next to the microscope and occasionally was resting their foot on the microscope's foot. And then naturally whenever he would accidentally bounce his foot, naturally that type of vibration would be translated through the scope. So I recommend starting there, just look at the feet and tighten things down. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It's a quick, helpful tip. We've got lots of vibration stories, lots of vibration experience. And I have to say, with working with our customers, we've been able to resolve, I think, all issues that have come up about vibration, whether or not we had to go to the half-inch deflection vibration feet or not. So that's all I got today. Thanks for watching. If you guys didn't see our live stream last week, we did have an audio quality issue, but Kevin did redo that live stream, and it is posted now. And I have to say, he did a great job. It's about one of our new products, which is an ultra-low power objective for both our Discovery and LCF3 systems. And whew, it's really cool. We're really excited about it. So if you've got time, please check it out. It's last week's live stream. All right, Jake Kurth with Leeds. If you guys ever have questions, please feel free to email me, call me. We'll be here. Thanks for watching.